sounding.
And that person really has the words.
Tonight's planning board meetings order for the town of Pompey on Monday, February 27th, 2023. First thing, if we could stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Introductions. My name is Sue Smith. I'm chairman of the planning board. And to my far right. Person, Secretary Sarah LaJudas. Okay, so my left, Dan Vargavas and Debbie Slocum. Cook. Deb Cook. Okay, we are missing two board members this evening. Carl and Ethan are not with us. Still for engineer John Dunkel, attorney Jamie Sutphin, and in back is our code enforcement officer Tim Barrow. So, first of all, our minutes from the last meeting, I did have a couple of real minor changes in that we had 6 board members present. And that really was not with us last month. Other than that, and one wording further that is minor. I didn't see anything else with the minutes for corrections or changes, so it was thorough.
I don't think I got them.
I don't
Did
think you guys did.
No.
Sarah's gonna get them out to me. So, you still want to make a motion or you?
Make a motion.
I'm okay.
Yeah, can we accept the minutes?
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Just a reminder to our board members, those that signed up, March 9th on the Thursday is the county planning symposium. So, and Nikki was to have signed everybody up for it that responded to it. Other than that, we get on with the agenda. First of all, up is Hutton Strosick West subdivision. Tonight is scheduled for a public hearing on an application for a 2-lot subdivision of land at 2628 Pompey Hollow Road. Tax map number 025.03-08.3. All up. So, we have a complete application. They did send out the certified letters and acknowledgement has been received by the town that was accomplished. The map has changed since our last meeting. The lots are now labeled lot 1 and 2 for our request. Lot 1, the shape of it has changed. It's pretty close to the same acreage, I believe.
Right,
Yeah, 5.669 plus or minus. Driveways are indicated. And that's for the request. So the one driveway is hugs the barn and the silo. And the other driveway indicated is at the far southern corner of the lot on Pompey Hollow Road.
So right here.
The existing one is this one where we always come in because they do that. In order to get to 600 feet, this is where the proposed driveway can be put in order to meet the needs of the highway department.
Okay, to meet the needs on that, there would, I'm assuming there would have to be some improvements with a culvert to get in.
There's much of a culvert, yeah, you would have to build it up and put a culvert.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not intended to be a building line, but who knows?
yeah, which I do know the proposed buyers observing and listening. So,
Yeah.
Any other questions from,
Was there a septic?
No.
No septic. There is a well, but no
It's a
septic.
well, because it's a barn, it's just raised deep cattle.
where was the well located?
It's right
Right by the driveway.
To the north.
Not labeled. Yeah, it says existing well.
Existing well.
Oh.
Existing well.
Isn't that the silo?
The well.
No, it's above the driveway, the little
There is a
circle.
silo. Yes. But
So that little dot. must be-
Oh, no, it's a little dot, you're right.
Yeah.
That's the well. the drop-
Basically, it's beside that.
5 inch. Yeah, well, that.
Okay, John or Jamie, any comments?
I think this is a better configuration.
Well, it gives the farmers the ability, that's the reason we're doing it, so they can have a long run. And still keep it in the 5 acres.
And the shore assessment form was,
It's an archaeologically sensitive area, floodplain and wetlands, but this is just a subdivision, so they're not affected by this action,
And
and it's all in the back part of the large
they've
lot.
lived there since 69, there hasn't been anything going along the creek, except down at 20, they do that, but not ours. But who knows in 100 years?
There's really no impact from this action.
seeker, I'm looking for the seeker form. Okay. Before we open up the public hearing, I would have to go through into our seeker assessment. So series of 11 questions that we go through, and this is based on information that we have on this subdivision. There are two possible answers to each of the questions, and we do the determination on it. One of the answers is no or small impact, and the other would be a medium to large impact. We'll go through, read each question, and go through for discussion and or just determination from our board members.
Okay.
So the first will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? I believe that would be no or small impact because it's going to be the same usage.
No, it's right.
So. For two, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use in the land? No. Number three, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? I believe that to be no.
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No or small impact.
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Both. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Bring back to what John had just said, that would be a no or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No or small impact. And 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No or small impact. Based on these findings, I make a motion for a negative declaration.
I'll second the motion.
And second by Kevin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of negative deck, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. I make a motion to open our public hearing.
will second.
All in favor? Okay. All right, at this point, if anybody here, the public wishes to comment or question on this subdivision, please direct all questions to the board. State your name and address.
Will Frazee, 1999 Purcell Road. I was just hoping to, I guess, convince you guys or ask you guys what we could do in terms of having that 5 acre requirement, either shrink that a little bit or else somehow attach that to the property across the road to get that 5 acres. Reason being, the only reason that's a requirement is because it's an agricultural parcel, correct?
It's zoned farm.
It's on farm. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
And with a barn on it.
But other than there being a red barn there, that's not where the agriculture is taking place. My reasoning is that we're currently farming the field behind that property and the new lot line cuts into that field significantly. And so, they're very dominating and would continue to allow us to farm that, but eventually that will be sold. And at which time that land that's,
Have you seen the new,
yes,
because
I know it's much better, but it still does. I believe it's the newest, unless, is there a third or?
could you explain what? I'm sorry, can I ask a question? I mean, I don't understand your concern. We moved it from 500 feet to 250. And the only land that we have there, which ultimately will be transferred to Conrad, the farmhouse across the street. I'm not sure what you would like to change.
Can I just double check that I've seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, Mr. Hutton, if you wanted to. It's just this portion here. From about here.
The issue is, or maybe the engineer or somebody could tell me. My understanding was that you have to have 5 acres or you're gonna have to have a septic system plan. The town would be fine with 2.5 acres, if I understand it correctly, but not the county health department.
If it were a building, if
If it were a house.
a house on it, yes,
Well, we don't have a plan
and
to
that's
do
why,
that.
yeah, so.
I mean,
then-
I have no problem cutting it here.
I know.
Absolutely no problem whatsoever.
And
And
the way
make it
you
only
could-
2.5
The
acres.
way you could do that is to combine this with the lot across the street.
Well, that's the game plan, except that's the game
Except
plan.
it's not a very good planning tool, for the, sometimes there are lots that are across the street from one another, just because that's the way they are. But to create a lot that's on the opposite side of the street
Right,
is
that's no
not
problem.
acceptable generally.
That's what I've run into, but the game plan is to
I mean, is
feed this over to the farmhouse, which also has another 8 acres, that they can use it as a small farm eventually. That's the game plan, but in order to keep the 5 acres, Z's wanted this blue, which was a good point, because that gives them a lot better, and most of this isn't very good, but this area is farmable.
A couple things I would say. If you can go to the zoning board of appeals, they give variances, whether they would consider a variance, this board can't do that. But you would have to go there and say, plead your case of why this should have variance. The other thing is you could enter into a long-term lease before you sell the place, and then the property gets encumbered by the lease. or whatever's farmed.
And maybe the other thing is that once you get into this stuff. You put lot line adjustment. And this over there. I don't know if that's probably, that's an issue.
Well,
Now that we know.
the issue still is, and I'm gonna address this to the board, right? The issue still is, do you create a split lot on opposite sides of the road? And while it's not prohibited, it is not a preferred method of zoning and subdivision. There are some lots, well, especially in big farm areas like this, where it's a lot on both sides of the street.
That's what it's for.
I think it goes back. Like I know on Route 20, there's a couple or, and John's got some too, but not usually separate parcels. There's a couple on 20, but when they moved 20,
Mhm.
the road then cuts through it.
Right.
So it wasn't a case of
Creating a new.
creating a new one and then trying to attach that because they moved the road.
And the lot was the
Still
same
different
lot
one.
number.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is different lot number. Yeah.
It's, I get where you're coming from, Will, but also I get on the other hand of like a long-term lease or still go ahead and farm it, just okay, it's a case that, okay, you got 3 acres of rent, maybe your rent's $1, maybe it's $100 an acre, whatever. But you still have the right and you still keep farming it.
Right, the concern would be the owner after Mr. Hutton.
If you have a long-term lease, if the lease runs with the land.
Yeah, and I don't know if that would be agreeable to you guys, because that's gonna encumber the sale and that gets complicated too. It seems overcomplicated if what we're trying to, because you read through the bylaws and it's all saying that they can preserve the ability to farm and have viable agriculture in the town. And if that's the goal, then it shouldn't be taken away from that active farm.
Right, but it does go with this, if this becomes an active farm, right? So the
Right,
idea
becomes,
is to
which we're
create,
not active now.
right, but
But I guarantee it will be continually farmed for productive agriculture every year for as long as I'm alive. Whereas this is not, and we can say that hypothetically, maybe someday it could become, but I think
Jamie, if they came in today with it drawn like that, having it on both sides of the road, is it something we could rule on, or does it have to go to the zoning board?
it would be your decision.
So if they came back with a map that showed the lot split on one side or the other, we could make that decision here.
Could you explain that to me?
Yes, it's not a variance, it's a planning, it's a best practices planning issue. And this board can decide that. As long as it's 5 acres total. Looks like
If
this,
you walked in here today and you were farmhouse, right, and you had the map drawn where
You showed both sides of
both sides of the road and the total was 5 acres or whatever, but you cut this smaller to what you're looking for and come before this board, that's something we could rule on. It wouldn't have to go to the zoning board.
well, you might want to discuss it to see if that's something you want.
Right, absolutely.
Do that.
Yeah,
You're also gonna have to start over.
The issue, you still end up with a. Would you then make this part of the same map as this, or would this still be a 2.5 acre
No,
separate map?
no, it would have to be combined. If this board wanted to do that, if they thought that was a good idea for this.
So you're saying you can create a extension, basically a lot line adjustment across the road.
Well, it would we would do it as part of this whole thing. You're not going to do it separately.
Yeah, because we already moved the lot lines on the other side of the road.
How much property is on the other side of the road?
There's 49 acres, I think. Of which the
map, Tim.
this one has now been extended to here, mine's been extended to here. So I think that's, the total is gonna be 11, so there's 6 acres. The farmhouse now.
Now there is, and so you had,
Now it's 6
You
acres
added to
here.
the 76. Oh, I'm sorry. You add it to this.
We added it to 1.7 acres. It's now almost 6 acres.
It would be 6 acres plus 2.5.
But the silver house.
There's the other side now, the new map. That's that plus.
Yeah.
Center, there's a farm that he's got across the street, and they're thinking. Yeah, right.
We already did this.
Yeah, that's.
Tax map, that's back in the day.
That was just a lot like that.
So this is your lot,
Yeah, that's the farmhouse lot that we want to connect this to.
this whole thing.
This, yeah, this 6 acres.
Correct.
Because this
Yeah.
barn is here.
Right. You had
Right
this-
across. So,
So did everyone understand that discussion?
So, repeat that one.
Yeah, I hate to complicate it.
This
We don't get why it is, but.
is what exists now. It's about this
So
lot.
that's what we intended originally, I said we couldn't do it.
Right.
Like,
So without having a septic system
Yeah.
plan, I'm not gonna pay unless you,
No.
somebody wants to pay a couple $1,000 for a septic system plan.
But. I still don't think I understand that.
But
I'm just saying,
Well,
it's,
the-
you know,
the-
it's not prohibited, it's not, that's all.
Yeah.
county requires that if you have anything left of 5
That
acres,
lies in this
you
board.
have to have the ability to put a septic system in, which means you have to put it.
Is the way it's
Yes.
It is.
You can say all you want, this is your building file. You can put a building
Right
on
now
there
it's
if you want.
5 and.
Take the barn down, sell the property, sell the barn.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the house.
Yeah.
Setbacks.
That's the county.
Yeah.
That's nothing I can do.
Say that barn's pretty close to the.
But if you can legally put it
Well,
together
that would be a pre-existing.
with the farmhouse, then
Yes.
the barn, farmhouse.
So how much would be left on the barn side?
2.5.
2.5, okay.
Yeah, we would go instead of 500 feet back, 2.5, 250 feet back.
If somebody bought it for a little hobby farm with horses or something, they're not gonna wanna go back and forth across the street.
Well, they do. That's what we did the whole time. We go to the barn and then you have 6 acres of pasture.
This side
And
is,
pardon?
on this side is just the house, there's no other barns or anything over here.
It's just the house here. That's well, I mean, you have 6 acres of pasture, a barn, a garage. I mean, you have pigs, we had pigs and cows. I mean, we had cows, but the point is, we didn't do anything. We put them all right there, the ducks and the. I think it would be a very nice little, little small place for somebody that wants a couple of kids growing up. In a farmhouse, and the Casanova School
Yeah.
District and.
You know, so that if that was a consideration. Say. This driveway. Is not used to access, that you get that one developed.
You'd have to develop
Access
that.
in, so you could just.
Yeah, that's a tough driveway, and we plan on, if we were to own the other half, we would want a driveway on the, where he proposed that.
Now, to tell you the truth, I believe what you do is while we fill
Yeah.
out it, they would use that driveway to get into this area. But this is developable to meet the needs of the access.
Do you have a letter from the county?
No, I called them, and they don't really. The surveyor said that you have visibility of 610 feet. It's the needs, that's the only issue they had. They didn't seem to like it. As long as the surveyor agrees that has the sight lines.
You need this driveway right here, right?
And there's plenty of-
He's not currently.
This one doesn't quite probably, it might meet it, but
No.
there's no reason for this.
From.
I called the guy and he really had no interest in something like this. If it was a building lot, that would be different, but. It's just a agricultural
Gotta be a driveway there now.
piece of land.
Here there is.
And he, Coming out.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. That's what he is now.
Yeah.
It's now all
One other
changed,
raised.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
This is
6 acres.
6 acres,
Right.
and then they would add on 2.5.
Okay, so we'll be talking about like 8.5 acres.
Right.
Supposed to be.
Sorry, what was that?
I don't have any problem.
I've got no problem.
Oh,
This land would
Personally.
be used all the time instead of grow up there.
No, they should,
I only did that in order to get 5
No.
acres.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying if, but when you do use it, it would keep it into a cropland instead.
Correct.
no, but what you need to get past is technically somebody else could own this, but they could still rent off a couple acres to them. It could still be farmed.
The problem that they would have, just to be honest, is that if whoever buys this, 'cause it will be sold, I mean. Partner, is 87. So, is I can believe that if somebody says, wait, I want this, I want more than 8 acres, I'm gonna put fence there.
Right.
I mean, you're trying to think about what might happen.
Yeah.
So I can see the concern. that they, You don't know what's gonna happen in the future.
You're okay with the change?
I have to talk to Conrad, to be sure, but I'm pretty sure he has no problem with it at all. He's in Florida at the moment.
Well, and as long as you're not, if this board is not worried that they're hamstringing this land by, such a small parcel with a barn on it. I mean, because it's across the street, but it's a small parcel.
So what is a building lot? Ordinarily,
2 acres,
2 acres, so. In my mind.
but that's not if it were a residence.
Right.
I mean, but technically you could just take the barn down because it's valuable, because wood is probably fairly valuable. And make it one. I'm saying it's not gonna happen. But
Somebody could do that because there's.
I'm just saying, we're going to look at that the size be at least 2 acres on the other side so that they could
Oh,
decouple it.
Yes.
Someday.
House there, yeah, in the future.
There's one of the things you see, I mean, it's an old farmhouse. But it has a more modern in-laws place. And the barn and the chicken coop and that sort of goes with the historic, rural. Nice little. Area. It's-
I'm just thinking of the board that's gonna come after us. We're gonna have to deal with it someday.
What are we gonna-
So it'd either be a complying 5 acre lot or there could be a future complying
You
2
guys-
acre lot.
But you guys say that we can, which I didn't think we could, is we have no problem deeding that over. To the other side.
Well, it would
The side would not be less than 2.5.
Right, so it would be big enough to build on. It would be 2.5, yeah.
It's still big enough to build on.
Right, which is fine.
If this board does go in a direction, I would be very careful about your findings as to why this would be permitted, because there's a lot of properties in Pompey that would like to do this, right?
Like to do what? Sorry.
Have these split,
Oh.
split off a little bit, throw a little low on this side of the street.
But you're saying, I mean, my first choice would be to let them go to 2 acres and keep the barn. You're saying because it's a barn. They would need to get a variance.
No,
I would think,
if it were, right, if you would have to get a variance.
I know. Because of the
that
barn.
parcel, yes, because it's not an allowed, so that would be an option. Or what they're talking about is taking that 2 acres and joining it to the other piece.
Either a variance or.
The latter is what I would be most comfortable with, because if they were ever to make that into a building lot, they'd have to come before this board again for a subdivision.
Correct, they would.
And if there were, I think if it were my lot, I would go for the variance first.
It would make life a lot easier, I think,
Well.
because then
May or may not.
we're gonna deed it off to the other side. Anyhow, who knows what the world is, I mean. A partner could die.
I just worry about also precedents, and that is an example of, okay, if they move the road and that cuts an existing parcel and divides it, it's still connected. Versus we are purposely joining something on 2 sides of the road that hadn't been.
You know, we see precedent.
Yeah, I worry about that part.
I believe there's somewhat of a precedent there on the corner of Pompey Hollow Road and Route 20. Only instead of across the road, it's across the county line. It's a similar deal.
Yeah, I think there is a precedent already. I don't think we would be setting a new
No,
precedent.
not that.
I mean, they exist, but did they exist to
There
be
was
created or was it created
recently
because roads being built or?
On the north side.
northeast corner. They made 2-1. I don't.
That one that's been on the market forever.
Maybe three.
It's just,
That's kind of wonky,
yeah,
but still. Route 20 did divide up that
before.
whole farm before, yeah. So.
The ones
Which Route 20 didn't used to be there. It used to be way over.
East of.
Yeah.
In terms of setting a precedent, I don't think there's a lot of people out there that want both sides. Yeah, there's not a lot of people that are gonna have property on both sides of the road.
I do.
Yeah, I know, but you're,
Because then nobody can build on the other side of the road.
yeah, but you have two separate lots.
450.
Oh, yeah, there's some.
Right, it's not, this would,
450 by
what we're talking about is just
Join
one
that
lot.
as one.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
but it makes,
Well, we're talking about.
makes sense if you have a barn and a chicken coop
Well, I think if.
in a farmhouse, but not if you're not in that.
But if they went for variance.
Yes. Yeah.
It's talking about still keeping it a. separate
correct, it's
lot.
gonna be a much longer process to go to the zoning board of appeals for variance to have a smaller lot. But I think that it's a better served for the applicant to do the both sides.
Combine it, you're saying?
Yeah, having, half of it on one side, half on the other. I think to get a variance, that's gonna be a bit of a stretch. This would be easier.
To combine it.
We're nicer.
It would be nice.
Or I can play devil's advocate if they went for the zoning variance and it left it as a separate parcel. If it was turned into a building lot, it's a separate lot, and that's where you're not going back to the subdivision.
That's true. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's
I play devil's advocate a lot.
I mean, not in my lifetime, but it certainly is possible to take that barn, which is a beautiful barn, it's in the historic book, but it's not historical. And I could see him polishing it. Those timbers are all old, rough cut and building on it.
So what are you saying?
Possible, but I don't see it in my
They
lifetime.
don't go to the zoning. And we just give them the 2.5 acres on that side.
If they went to zoning for variance.
Correct.
So
Like a farm lot.
It's a farm lot with a barn on it.
Right.
And they get their 2.5 acres.
Right.
Okay. As 2.5, and it stays a separate parcel.
Right.
Down the road, eventually 20 years, 30, 40, 50, whatever. If that barn ceased to exist and somebody wanted to build a house there, they already have a lot. They don't have to come back to get it subdivided off. If they
Right.
join that.
But I think in the short run, you're gonna have a tougher time selling it as that 2 lots.
No, we're gonna combine it. It's gonna be.
No, I understand
It's
that.
gonna be 2 lots. It's gonna be 2 lots,
You're right.
except for it'll be the same ownership
Correct.
eventually. And I mean, technically, I guess if we called somebody in and did the septic system plan, I guess then you could approve it. I
You
think.
still have the same issue of, you're saying do it 2.5 acres and throw a septic tank in there?
Well, not throw it in, just plan. You'd have to do you'd have to go through the perk test and you're gonna go through an engineer which is what, $2,000-3,000.
So the only issue right now will you take some amount, preferably 2 acres or more, because then it could be something in the future, and allow it to be combined with the piece across the street? That is within the purview of this board.
Correct.
Or they go to the ZBA and try to convince them to give them a 2.5 acre farm lot, which I I'm skeptical that that would
Correct.
fly at the ZBA.
Yep. Yep.
I don't think they'd go for it, knowing that board.
Right, so you're better off coming to us.
Yeah.
To do it on both sides.
And then I guess if somebody wanted to create that as a separate lot, they can always then go back and
Do it in the future.
do it in the future.
Absolutely.
Now, would this,
Well,
would,
assuming 2 acres is still the minimum.
it'd be 2.5, but.
Well, with the roads, I think it's 2.5, right?
I
If the
don't know.
goal is to keep it a nice little barn, then combining it.
So that's a good point. Make sure you're measuring the property.
I'm sure it's at least 2 acres, but I don't know how they're measuring, how you measure. Do you measure from the center of the road? I'd have to go back to my, the Gary Cottrell and find out.
Yes.
But again, it's certainly 2
We're gonna make it
We talked about doing 2.5 just to
Because
make
it's
sure.
2.5. But yeah, they can always, either back off. I guess now, is it gonna be, would it be the same? Would it be like a lot line adjustment that it would end up being the same tax map? As the farm,
Amy, would it be the same tax map? Yeah.
It would, eventually, it would be, yes.
if we combine it?
Yes.
I mean, I have no problem doing that. We're not in the. If we do want to get it done so we could sell it, but how do I do that? I mean, I go
Does
Change the
that-
drawing and come back.
change the drawing, say,
Yeah.
bring both drawings.
I gotta see if it's gotta go to county. What?
Hmm?
Does it have to go to county? Yes. Yeah, good, I got the cheat sheet. He printed it out, good. I sent him the cheat sheet and he prints it out.
The color.
I think too, I was trying to find other roads.
Division. So. Yep, okay, so. Nope, doesn't have to go to. it's not.
Okay, so if that's the path, so that they. I mean, if that's the path that's chosen.
Mhm.
Technical standpoint, that's a lot line adjustment and that takes us out of way.
That sounds like a line adjustment.
Yeah,
If you're gonna keep the same tax map,
right.
you're gonna be able to
Or
approve
should
it.
we
Well, I
still
think,
handle it
I
because
think
of the
so.
road being there?
Yes, because if that's a call for this board, ordinarily, that would not be something that would be allowed as a lot line adjustment.
So they would change the map, come back to us next month.
Mhm,
We would keep the public hearing open
mhm.
and then we would rule on that new drawing.
So I would show both sides of the.
Probably redo the secret just to be sure.
Would the drawing have to include the east side of the road?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I just make it one big map now instead of.
Yes.
Right, we wouldn't have to make any notification because we already notified for public hearing.
Okay, so I don't have to send out all those.
It's already taken place.
Unless there are other,
That's a change in the
Neighbors.
original application, so you would need to notify.
Well,
There's
I didn't
probably-
notify him as to what I was doing. I mean, all I said is there's gonna be a meeting and
no, this is our rules. So,
we just want to present it.
so on this side, who's on this side of the road? Do you have the tax map? So,
Oh, that's.
Well, probably bring in more. Bring in more.
Well, I probably will not bring any more except for
Yes.
they bring in somebody up.
But that's really the problem.
But we sold it before. But
If we were to 2.5 and come back, is there a particular way that should be shaped that would make you guys the happiest?
I don't think
That's
we would
up to
be
you.
caring about the shape. I think it just based on farming.
50, right?
Yeah, it probably make sense. You're trying to keep this.
Yeah.
Don't need anything over here.
Yeah, it's basically the original one was 5 acres, but we just.
It takes to here to get to it.
Right.
Is there any issue? Like you don't want to go behind this lot?
Nope, no.
Yep, I'm just making sure before.
Yeah, no.
Because I think it might.
Well,
It might not be 2.5, in my thing.
Well, I'm gonna do 2.5. I'm gonna go 250 feet.
Yep.
And whatever it takes to go
Right,
over there.
I agree. That's the best case scenario. I just.
It's gotta have some space here. Somebody's actually gonna have.
Get the new map and republish.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing. Yeah, I just want to make sure they did,
Space.
that they would approve that it went behind this lot,
Okay.
just no issues there.
All right, gentlemen,
Sorry.
I think well, what we're leaning towards right now is that we would close the public hearing. You'll get updated maps, what you want. We will re-advertise certified letters again because this is enough of a substantial change.
To all the same people? Except for
We've
the
got to
addition.
verify that 1,000 feet.
Mhm.
Circle got bigger.
Well, yeah, it
the
does.
circle layout.
Is there gonna
But
be a new?
most of
address?
them were already identified, so
Yeah.
then,
New
and
address.
I mean, I can do it, so. Now,
She's asking if there's a new address.
In order to get the additional neighbors in there?
Right, so it would be this,
The other tax parcel.
the other tax
Okay.
parcel across the street.
East side.
So basically, the
Okay.
people on Burlingame.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how far the Burlingame is from that.
But that's,
You ought to check that
Okay,
out.
we'll
because-
check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, either way,
But that's-
even if
but the
if it's the
application-
same
The
people,
application has
Pardon?
changed.
you need to modify the application,
What's
Because
on
it's
the
different.
application?
modify it.
Modify it. If there are changes, it's not a two-lot subdivision.
Who owns this?
I was supposed to my partner.
Same
Same.
people who owns it? Okay, so it's not a new,
No. it was
Party.
all, yeah, we
Okay.
didn't even make a second for this one.
okay.
Yeah, so this is, he owns this, I own this, and we both own this. And
Wait,
it
wait,
may not.
No,
be-
no, time out.
Okay.
Who owns this individual?
Right. We
You own
both
it?
own this.
Okay, so,
His name is on this and it's his own.
and who has signed the application? He needs to sign it, because that's his property. He needs to consent to that.
Both
your signature.
It's not a problem,
It's
but,
okay, you don't, it can be electronic or.
but you may find that there's
Email.
no additional people involved.
Mhm.
The reason is that we're talking about.
Any indication we can get them before I make them withdraw this?
It's quite a bit of this
Cleaning.
Sure.
And it's quite a
I
bit.
hate to have to go through all that, and you guys. Stating what's that.
It's, and I, if it's not more.
Stating what's that.
Different application, right? It's a different application.
So the interesting thing is, I did not tell them what, I just said there was a,
Right, but they're for a
I'm
subdivision
not gonna change,
about,
yeah, I'm not gonna change the letter
but
at
the
all.
publication then that our clerk is gonna do is gonna be quite different.
Is it?
Mhm.
Okay. I can do anything you want. Not a problem.
Is
Not a problem.
there anybody else here that wanted to speak on this or have a question?
I was here to learn about it, so.
He's still laughing and smiling, so that's a good thing.
Because he has a lot on a different side of the street.
Okay, you're gonna tell me who I have to send it to. You're gonna tell me I'm going to go to,
Sarah, okay, you're gonna need an updated application with the signature. And the description on the application is changing. You know, it's not a two-lot subdivision now,
Hmm.
okay, so the description will change.
Okay.
on that. Obviously, we'll need updated maps that will show both sides of the roads,
right,
all the property.
yeah,
I'm looking at this, and this one isn't even really labeled right, because it says remainder lot. So it's a lot consolidated.
No, it's got, it says lot one and lot two.
yeah, the first-
Side of the road.
Oh, the other side of the road. Oh, the other side of the road. What, is that the,
but
Show
that,
this, shows.
that part doesn't even come into play on this, I believe. Because we're only talking about Conrad's and the other side of it
It's going to be joined.
with Conrad's property.
he's saying this isn't really, isn't proper. But it's
Right.
fine.
That's the one got a map. Where it's a Strozik house.
Mhm.
should that be labeled lot one and the barn is adjoined to lot one?
Correct.
The remainder lot would be
Well-
lot two, and then across the road is just,
Well, this is the across the road. Right? It does say remainder lot.
no. That's all on the east side. What's across the road with the barn is on the big picture.
Oh, okay, that across the, I was talking about across the street.
So even if this one's gonna be done, we get lots.
Yep, so it's gonna go like, yep, gonna go like that.
So we're done with that. Let's keep.
This is lot one.
No.
Becomes lot one. Be lot two.
Oh, okay, so then we're actually gonna, so it's not one.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and this is lot two.
This really doesn't come into play because that's already.
Yeah.
That's already. been done.
Right.
Okay,
Was it
lot one,
already
lot two.
signed and filed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so lot one is not gonna include the barn, and lot two is gonna be basically what we had, but, we're gonna only make it 2.5 acres. Yeah. And they're gonna do that, no application, give it to you, and you're gonna tell me who has to send notification of a new meeting.
There are additional fees. Is it redoing?
It's gonna come straight to us.
I'm good.
Okay. No other public comment for where we're at. If not, I make a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
And second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. So we're not voting on anything tonight because plans have changed. But waiting.
We'll do
Questions? Take a call.
it.
Take this later. Just send through the point. Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda, the Perry Real Estate Holdings.
Sorry about all of this. I appreciate it.
Perry Real Estate Holdings Broadfield Road subdivision continued review of the application for subdivision land located on Broadfield Road. It's on a copy, tax map number 004.03-44.1. Introduce yourselves.
Yes, good evening, Pat Reynolds with IMEZ and Romans Land Survey. I'm representing Steve Perry, applicant.
I'm Steve Perry.
I own the property. So since the last meeting, we now got the adjoining owners on board. And the strip of land that was the easement for the septic system. They're in contract to sell that to the adjoining owner. We've included their lot into this parcel and made that now lot one. That is the only change we are showing on this map.
Yes. Yeah.
I know, no, I saw that after. It's fine.
Yes. The review done. Discuss their. The written easements.
Yes,
They're all written.
I did look at them. So the easement over this guy impacts a 15-foot easement.
I'm sorry, is what, Jimmy?
15 on 5. 15 feet. The easement to the Holden piece is 37.8. So this doesn't add up to to as much as it is there. But because the one piece is, hugging this piece and one piece is hugging that piece, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, right? Or is it in the middle of it?
I would
I
have,
just-
I would have to look at it again,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a 60-foot access for
Parcel.
The parcel is
60-foot.
Yeah.
He's saying the easement.
Right.
Right.
That's the
So there's
part.
a piece that doesn't have an easement on it. That's 60.
I don't know if we care. I mean, they are recorded easements. That's kind of. They were. What was that?
Less 60 feet, less 8 feet or that.
Well, but it's not exclusive, so this guy can use it. He's not prohibited from using it. It's not exclusive. Non-exclusive, so. And he has more land, I suppose he can build more driveway or widen it or something to get back there.
As a reminder. Because of both of those being 60. feet, that. Have a two-prong. Location. Vision does that, variance is submitted, but only if. Basically, if we say go to get the variance for the 60 feet. Road frontage, that still would have to go to the gate.
I mean, if you wanted to get a building permit to build a house without changing anything, you have to go to ZBA.
Mean to build on this back part.
Because it doesn't, because it's non-conforming, but you have to go.
No, but the last time it was subdivided, that
And it was allowed.
it
Pre-existing.
Yeah.
pre-existing, they can build on it, but because they're subdividing it.
Now,
It's triggered.
now whether anything else in the back could get further subdivided is quite the question, could you build one house? Yeah, probably. But anything else is would require, well, it's gonna require a road probably, right?
Unless the ZBA grant relief.
Well, you're gonna drive back and just have all private road and spurs of
Well,
housing.
this were one lot. He could probably build them.
Yes. It's not. It's subdivided. Private. It would've gotten a
So if he
variance.
subdivides it, he's gonna create a new lot.
Probably is gonna have to create a road, remember, just like we had over on Clearwater and all of that, to get some road frontage.
Yeah, application here.
Right.
Just in that, to be honest with you, it's either.
Well, you don't.
Yeah.
But so,
How do we? I guess there's a way we can write this up so it's not. So doesn't turn into a building lot then.
well, it's okay. It's house on it.
No, well, he's gonna have two lots, which one fits the house?
Well, this, the other,
Yeah.
the other side has its own frontage.
Okay,
Each one would have 60.
so you could put a house on lot 2 and lot 3.
Mhm.
Yes. But we could put into. a resolution that we approve it as a 2-lot subdivision and no further subdivision. Correct?
Without a town road.
Refresh my memory, what, existing situation is one lot, right?
Yes.
With 100
120,
feet of road frontage.
yes. So at that point, when it was subdivided, it.
I don't think, yes, I think it's gotta be contiguous.
So if they didn't subdivide it, they could go and build a house in there and then be here. They want to subdivide it into 2 lots, so it is changing. So instead of you had 1 lot that had been granted a variance. Now they subdivided, we have 2 lots and neither one's conforming, so.
Back again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we could, in a resolution, say, okay, just no further subdivision unless they build a town road.
Right.
So to do this subdivision, they don't need to go back and get a variance.
They do,
Okay, so we don't need to do anything then until that happens.
correct.
Okay.
But, well, basically that we have to ask or give the recommendation of like, yeah, you should go to the variance. Go to, submit the variance application to their board
Correct.
and get that and come back and then we can act on it.
Right. And that
And at that
ZBA
point-
may include in their information, only one house on each. Save us the trouble.
Right, so what, non-conforming lot? I mean, it's got 60 plus 60 to. It's non-conforming, and I question whether it. You know, I think our code would say it should be contiguous anyway, so, but you're increasing the non-conformity by. What was one lot is now gonna be 2 lots, right?
Right.
So it does have to go to the ZBA to say, okay, you can have a 60-foot frontage here and you can have 60 feet there and there's your house and happy days. Now, the other question is can you have a driveway there? Or are you gonna try to do something here? It's gonna go like that.
So we did do site distances on will be that westerly
Mhm.
proposed drive
Mhm.
and the county approved the site.
Okay.
We got there.
Saying this.
Okay.
I called it lot 2 though.
Oh, it's not free.
It is now.
Oh, yeah, it was, remember, because they didn't,
Flipped it.
Yeah.
Okay.
but that's okay. Yeah.
So this letter refers to what lot 2.
We could change it.
Probably should for the record. Now you read
I
that
get what you're
letter,
saying.
it says,
Yeah.
Connie says this is okay, but.
Oh, they only said that one?
No, this, they were, this could be lot 2. It's not the map the county looked at.
Mhm.
Their letter said we were next to lot 2. Take that letter and apply it to this map, now that letter C.
Just to make them correct it, yeah, in case anyone asks in the future. Sure.
Say that again, on the letter.
So the letter says the county approves driveway access for lot 2.
She's already existing.
Well-
But it actually, they were referring to lot 3, the map changed from, the numbering changed from when the county looked at this.
So
So
it's easier to get a new county letter.
renumber the map.
Or renumber the map.
the record should reflect
Well,
what,
that's true, you could just
Yeah.
reverse it, but,
No, seriously, it's something,
yeah,
which is easier to.
but what did they refer to as an exact map?
they refer to the tax parcels.
Number.
Future access for lot 2.
Well, that would be sneaky. It was-
Yeah, we should probably get them to confirm. I mean, they refer to the tax parcel, which is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Probably should get them to kind of clarify that based on this map.
Okay. So knowing what we know now, don't change the numbers.
But I liked that idea. It was an interesting one. We'll switch a room, so.
Any other comments? We need a resolution to say on its own merits to CBA.
I mean, you can refer it, you can give a recommendation, you can just be silent and say, go off and.
Yeah, I don't think that we need a resolution.
ZBA be
they're not. They don't have something in
Just
front of
let
us
the-
that we can
Just
rule
let the
on.
record show that
Well, you remember, you're the subdivision people, right? You know, and you're the planners, and you can say, you know. Resolution, recommend to the ZBA that, you know, this is a reasonable subdivision request and that the frontage appears appropriate for these lots. You can say that. And a referral.
With, including in that only one house per lot.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, fine with that.
Even if the ZBA didn't approve it, they've still got this issue with lot one that they've got to fix though, right?
Right. If the ZBA doesn't approve it, they can't do that line. Big line.
Right, but I mean, it looks like the existing lot, they've got
Yes,
pool that's on somebody else's
so
property.
that would be, that's great.
You guys could still do that.
Mhm. Do that. It's good to keep it all together.
if it wasn't subdivided, that would just be a luck adjustment.
Right.
So. Okay, any other questions or comments at this point? So. A motion for, or just, I'd say, I would like to refer this to the ZBA for consideration. Do the 3 lots, realizing that it would be 2 non-conforming lots created and for their consideration for 2 building lots and no more than 2 building lots be created out of these 3 lots. That makes sense.
And the variance is
And the
recommended.
variance is recommended. Second. Any further discussion? Otherwise in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries for that resolution. BBA would trigger.
Yep.
Consent and, Second.
Weird thing going on with the town board.
Again.
Like you had a joint, but they were gonna meet the same night. Saw that from Renee.
And night.
Planning board's
For Z-
gonna meet at 4:30 before this meeting.
Who the town board is?
Oh, they did
Okay.
that already. Okay.
So town board meeting the same night, but before. It's very.
Did they move from a Tuesday to a Monday?
They had to move the meeting stand for next month, so they're gonna meet at 4:30.
Monday, March 20th at 4:30. At your meeting.
Second Monday of March.
Zoning should be second. Your secretary, when's the next one?
But I
Well, I don't know,
20th
they don't
would be
always
very-
meet, so they have to tell me.
You got an agenda now.
It's amazing.
20th.
So it should be the,
I put it on you that you will be in touch with the exact meeting date.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yep.
Okay, it should be this second Monday.
We're doing the second.
Yes,
Monday?
Tim?
I do not believe we will have enough people next month for zoning.
It's a short one to begin with.
And Dave will not be back in time.
When will he be back?
From what I gather in time for the April meeting.
We'll check things out and let you guys know for sure.
Okay.
CBA normally tries to do everything all in one meeting. Including their public hearing and so on. So,
The more of
If I got a revised application, everything for the variance, is that something I can drop off
I don't know what their deadline is.
tonight? Or is it best just to come?
Tonight?
this looks pretty dark.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine. We'll get it done next week. Yeah.
Yeah, ZBA. If we have it 2 weeks prior. We'll accept it for the meeting.
Okay.
You can just.
Thank you.
Return to the work, give the best way.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your time
all
next
right, thank you. Next. Mapstone site plan review, continued to review the site plan submitted for project located at 3191 Fountain Center Road. Exact number 016-02-02.0. Melissa, and I'm going to recuse myself again and have at it, Kevin.
Okay, we've got some maps for you. Here. That's some of those. That's what we wanted. We got a letter from the DOT. Yeah, here's the DOT application signed. Saying yes, it was all approved. Was the application.
You file. Got another one if you want. Here.
Good team. See if we can jump back in that. First, Smith, I believe, is the woman in part two.
Set down to
It's gonna be gravel. The road, the parking lot. And if our little explanation here, but okay, the parking lot, the intention is to be habitable for now.
Okay.
And then with the intention down the road, making it a more permanent. But the driveway will be, it already is gravel and that'll be kept up.
Right.
Nicely gravel. There would be temporary solar lighting for the parking lots and the walkways to the barn. Until we feel the need for permanent lighting. On here, it shows where the two signs will be. There'll be parking signs down at the far north or far south. That driveway, the parking driveway. Then there will be a sign right before the house driveway, just basically advertising what it
At the
is.
time of the event. Temporary sign.
No, that's a permanent sign, just basically Watervale Ridge,
Name of the property.
yeah, name of the property, yeah. Nothing, too crazy, just a sign, so people know that they're at the right place.
Yeah, and I think there's size considerations in that.
Okay.
So Jamie, on the map, they've got the proposed gravel parking.
but they don't want to put gravel in now. They want to use the grass part.
That's going to be a call for you. I'm not sure what our requirements are on that. I'd have to look at it.
Yeah, I think we were okay with the grass driveway.
Parking,
a gravel
parking.
driveway.
Parking, I mean, and the gravel, the grass parking. But since it's on the map to approve it and it's not there. And they're not sure when they're gonna put in the gravel, but they're showing
And I
it.
think, didn't county have a comment about gravel being there?
So, yeah, that's just driveway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Here's the, so just so you know, I mean, we're seeing this for the first time.
Absolutely.
Tonight, so.
Yeah.
We didn't have a chance to go back and review, you know, all of the comments and the county referral, which is what John and I try to do in advance of the meeting. And sometimes we do it together and, you know, on the phone and stuff, so. I mean, my gut reaction is that, if it is planning on being gravelled, if we put a time frame on, it, like. Within 44 months, it gets gravelled, or if you think it's really not gonna get gravelled, then it should come off. As a gravel. Preference of the board.
And we could just, in the approval, we could just make a statement, right? Rather than change the maps all over again, just do that.
Again, I'll need to look it up. We need to look carefully at it, but. You know, proposed location of primary signage. We need to see if that's the correct, you know, place per our code. What kind of signage might be required? Haven't really looked at any of that. I think that if it says. If it's meant to be grass, then it should stay grass. It should not say gravel. But it should. Have the outline of where it's gonna be. Do you want it? Outlined in some physical way?
Well, your grass parking is gonna be the same as the gravel part.
Right.
So you just take the term gravel out and put grass in.
If we feel the need down the road to gravel it because people are getting stuck
I
or
don't
something,
think
then
that's
what?
something that would have to come before.
I don't think it's a substantial site plan change, but you should get a permit for it.
Permit for doing the gravel.
Gravel, yeah.
Yeah, just from
Or just-
code enforcement, but you wouldn't need to come back in front of us.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because that would be a definite improvement.
Well, it would be. It would almost be like a repair, you know.
Right.
A repair item.
Okay.
As long as the parameters of it are the same.
So you would prefer it not say gravel?
Well, yeah, because when you're saying gravel, if we approve it, then
You have to do the gravel.
for gravel up there. So, you know, but in the future, if you wanted to put gravel, you just go to code enforcement and say, hey, we need a permit to put gravel.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a cleaner way to do it.
What if, that being said, what if rather than having to change the whole map, since that's gonna be our parking area regardless whether it's grass or gravel, what if we just cross the word gravel off of it? Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just initial it or whatever.
Just so we don't have to have the maps redrawn or whatever,
Absolutely.
nothing.
I don't think that's an issue.
Okay,
And again, the grass parking is that same footprint.
yes, yes. It shows the wells, the two wells, I don't know, I've got them highlighted on my map.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, the outdoor lighting, on the barn for, you know, just for the event. There's a few existing lights that are shown on there.
John, do we need a cut sheet or anything on the lights or?
Would suggest that.
Yeah, for downward facing or whatever, yeah.
Confirm they're dark sky compliant and meet all that code.
You have them on the barn already, some of the lights?
Yeah. Yeah,
And they're not ones that would shield them from the road
they're,
downward facing.
yeah, whatever
Yeah.
they're called, like
If you could get
lanterns.
us, get the engineering, just a cut sheet on that, you know,
What do you mean by?
Just Google and you're gonna use, there'll be a diagram of it, or specification.
Oh, okay,
a catalog picture of it.
okay.
Okay.
You know, they'll tell like how many watts it
Of
is.
all the different lights.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. the concern with lighting is the engineer wants to look at, is it gonna impact the road? Is it gonna,
Right,
Too far from the road.
yeah, it's quite a ways and. Yeah, nothing so far, nothing is shining toward the road,
Right.
so.
yeah, so just so we have it on record that's, and again, when we approve it, if we don't approve the lights and you decide to put some kind of lights on there that are different than what we approve, that's where that becomes an issue. You
Right.
sell the property and so that's why we just need to see a picture of the lights, how lights they are.
Evan,
Yep.
can we just, add the guest house lights, if there's any exterior lights, just do the same for those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say all lights.
Yeah, all lights.
Lights should be.
You got porch lights on the guest house?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we just get those cut sheets also, whatever they are.
okay,
You know, if you bought them at Home Depot, you go on Google and just Google that particular light and print out that document that shows the light.
and some of them are existing, so
Yeah, some of them are
we'll have to figure out.
like the lamp post at the end of the driveway.
Yeah, those two lamp posts that have been there, they've been there forever. I know you bought a new globe for them,
Yeah,
so they would have, I'm sure, a sheet on that globe, and then you would just include what wattage the bulbs were,
okay,
you know? I'm sure that's something your electrician can. probably-
yeah, well, he found them for us, so I'm sure he can get
And he
it.
probably can get you cut sheets on all the lighting, so I would have the electrician just
Okay.
get them, he might have these catalogs. Yeah,
Okay.
and mark them on the, Now, the other lights, like on the guest house, John, because they're trying to avoid drawing new maps. How do we deal with that?
If they don't show them, you could ask them to describe it.
Where they are, I mean, they could. They hand draw them on the map as location and give us the cut sheets, that would be fine, right?
And neither one of them faces the road, so they're kind of. They're in back of the house.
Yeah, doesn't the guest house have a front entrance?
It does, which is not used as an entrance, but it's got a hanging light up.
Yeah.
And so it shines down, but.
Just ask the electrician to get that cut sheet.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
That was like an original. We didn't put that on.
Yeah,
Just that-
none of those lights we put up, they were all there, so.
We put the two to the side of the house, which I can provide for you those, but the original hanging one that was there when we purchased it.
None of them.
You know, if you can find a similar one, I'm sure they make something, Home Depot's got a little hanging light like that.
I can give you the wattage that we have.
Yeah, I bet if you look it up, it's like if that broke and you were to replace it. Find that, just give us that. If they couldn't find something, just take a picture of it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can take a picture of it too. And give that to us, yeah.
Thanks. It shows the location of the portable bathrooms, that's it.
Yeah.
Hash there, and I'm just trying to think what else that we. That's pretty much it. That's the septic, the drain field is out back there on the other side of the house, south of the house. That's pretty much it.
So Jamie, because we're requesting like these cut sheets and, take gravel off of the map and mark where some of the other lights are. We can do that. Where are we in the process here?
This needs a public hearing.
So-
I mean, it probably can go ahead and go on for a public hearing for next time. But these various things that we're looking for, if we can have them 2 weeks before the meeting, that would be great, because if there's not any problems, then we can prove it. Otherwise, we'll be,
Right.
right? Figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
So,
And I would take these maps back from us and make the changes on them.
Okay, sure.
That.
and this is the agritourism thing. I think you have to have a pretty involved resolution. I'd like to work on that in advance, circulate it. May or may not be ready for the next time, depending on what we have. some specifics. I think we've asked for kind of a story, but that's.
We have that.
Right, of what you're doing.
Yeah, you might want to take a look, let us know.
You want to read it or?
Change.
Can we, can we get a copy?
Sure.
Would it be emailed
Copy it,
or?
maybe, you have a way to copy it here?
The combination back there. I
Is
see.
there? There we go. You know, and let's everyone take a copy of that as well, or we'll scan it, or
You have that on email, that? Well, we can just get a copy of it, yeah. That's fine.
you guys can take a copy of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
And then back to you guys on what changes.
Right, and once you see this narrative, what else you might want?
I had a couple of comments. We talked before about making sure that him determining the capacity of the building. So that would translate into the number of required parking spaces. I know there's enough room there, but that should be on the plan. Also, where the doors in the building are, how pedestrian access is going to be going out of the building. They're going to need to have a building permit. For those things, I think should be.
No, you don't have the doors designated on there. Same with the guest house, because it's, yeah, we'd have to know ingress and egress on all of those.
And all the operational things. I think Jamie was talking about.
Yeah.
Hours.
The hours, so that's gonna be on. Sheet and then give us. Handicap parking, does that have to be designated on here or should be, okay,
Yes.
and that's. Based on the occupation size?
Where's my codes guy? And,
Tim, on parking, in terms of handicap parking. Is there a percentage of how much handicap you have to have based on the number of parking spaces?
There is, I'm gonna have to look up.
It's kind of a square footage.
Square footage of the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the capacity.
Capacity.
Have you written on?
We can print it again, I'm sure we need to, but.
Was there a question in the catering company? You're not cooking there. Caterers
No.
are bringing everything in.
Yeah,
Maybe
That's the license
requiring,
plates or
The
whatever.
licensed catering company.
Yeah, yeah, and they'll have hot plates or whatever. They're not gonna be cooking anything on site.
right,
No.
right.
Okay. There's a liquor license. A lot of music. 12 a.m.
Yep.
That's when the church music starts after 12.
Yeah, yeah,
That's like a megaphone down there.
yeah, so there's,
Sue can hear it like.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna be doing much more of that.
Yeah, that really projected. A trash dumpster. And a portable bathrooms to serve. Now, okay, that's where you're gonna put the bathrooms, but they'll be based on the number of guests, they'll get the number of portable
Right,
bathrooms.
right.
Piece of barn, the owner puts a permanent venue sign at the driveway to the north of the house exit. And the sign you'll talk to code enforcement about the sign size and color and
Mhm.
lighting and all
You
that.
guys want to see that or not?
Is there gonna be lighting on the sign?
I don't know, that's, we haven't really gotten that far.
A plan to.
We probably should see the sign, right? Yeah.
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 I would assume it's just going to be a painted sign, nicely painted sign and no lighting.
Yeah, so we need to see size,
We should have the specification events, so,
yeah,
and what it's gonna look like,
So come up with
a sign plan.
that we haven't gotten that far, but we'll.
Okay, so that's gonna, because it's all part of the approval, so we can
Okay.
get it done all at once. Or, I mean, we can approve the location of the sign and have them come in for an approval of the sign later.
yeah.
Suppose, be nice to get it done all at once, but.
So Jamie and I were just discussing, maybe the best thing to do is for us, Jamie and I, to put together a bullet list of things that we suggest be addressed for this plan, get it to you guys, get it to the board.
Yeah.
We don't keep coming in, oh, now you gotta do this.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Coming to.
Yeah, we need to, if we're gonna do it, we need to do it.
And it's hard for us, we just got this tonight.
Yes.
And so if you give us a chance to go through it now and give you a whole comprehensive list of what we feel the board has said and what we feel should be included in your application, we can get this done in
Okay,
time. Or at least you'll have a definite thing, a to-do list.
sure.
Then we'll get the neighbors, list of neighbors. For
I
notification.
think we already have been.
You have
through
that?
this. Well, there was already letters that were sent out and we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, need to do it.
And certainly, we certainly should do that because this is one that may garner public comment. And so we want to get the public comments sooner rather than later. Maybe we won't make a decision next time. It'll be the following month. So I would suggest we get it on.
So to that end, you'll give us a bulleted list and an outline of when you would want letters sent, or is that sent by the board?
That's from my.
I will do the letters. I would
Okay.
send you guys, once they let me know that this is on for a public hearing, I'll send you guys the list of your neighbors.
Mhm.
I know I already have it, but I'll give it to you just to make sure that it's the right one.
Yeah.
And then you can send the letters out and provide me the proof. I'll give you a receipt.
Yeah.
This is outside.
Jamie, in terms of,
I'll do it.
Here, because you have to put it down here.
We had a handicap drop off right near the barn.
Okay, that's what I was.
But we did ask people to move the cars because of purposes.
Then you don't have to have a handicap from the driveway all the way
Right.
parking lots.
Right, yeah.
Handicap drop off by the
Drop
car.
off, Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know if you want that still in the parking plans or.
I don't know, they're talking about handicap because it's grass from the, parking to the event venue. Should there be a handicap drop off
That's what we're saying.
designated on the map?
There should be the accessible features.
Yeah.
I think it should be on the plan.
Handicap drop off.
This project is gonna comply with ADA.
And we need all the
There's lots of different ways to do it.
entrance and exits on the venue and the house, the guest house. Now timing on this, so you guys are gonna work email
Next week.
We could get something out in a week or at most 2 weeks.
terms of a public hearing
I would go ahead and.
next month?
Mhm.
That's 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
And if all the issues aren't addressed at that time, you just keep the public hearing open or.
Yep. Okay, so we can get it on for next month.
We have your contact information so that you can get our comments.
I assume so, but I don't know. I can give it to you though.
Yeah.
It's just, my email is mapstonepeter@yahoo.com. Or mapstonemelissa@yahoo.com.
Somebody getting that from
Yeah, we're getting it up there.
Peter,
@yahoo.com. mapstonemelissa@yahoo.com.
Anybody have anything else right now that they want to add to the list?
Just, so it's these events are going to occur weekends or weekdays or?
Weekends.
Generally weekends, but I suppose they could potentially occur during the week if somebody wanted to, but
Sure.
not very often that.
Some people do a Friday
But the house would
afternoon
be
wedding. maybe.
available. To rent to stay in.
Yep.
Not, I'm
Not the event itself.
not likely to have a.
Right, and that you're also using as a Airbnb.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That's something we're addressing completely
whole nother-
separately. Yeah, that's.
All worms, can worms,
Can of worms, there we go. Can of worms.
all wax.
And then I guess, any idea on traffic safety management? That road, are you gonna have anybody directing traffic or?
Well,
Well, there will be someone on property during that. time. So they could help assist with that. On hand to manage the property. don't intend to just turn this over.
That's what.
Yeah, it's gonna be monitored. We're not gonna just rent the place and walk away. It's
Yeah.
our property, our troubles, I
It's a
guess.
parking lot driveway is a much safer
It is.
driveway than the house driveway.
It is, yeah, and I tested that out today. I pulled out in front of a car with a manure spreader out of that parking driveway and they had plenty of time to stop.
Yeah. I wonder even on the guest house driveway, if during an event, you might have a barricade there.
That house driveway would be used for handicap, dropping off handicaps only.
That's what we did during the last two weddings. yeah.
Right, but you know, people coming to a wedding, they see the driveway and
Right,
that's,
that's why it would just be handicap only access.
yeah, some kind of sign or
Yeah.
block or something
We
because,
put a bale in the middle of the driveway with a sign.
yeah,
Painted on a glass window pane and
Yeah.
it just said parking that way.
yeah.
So-
That driveway, we've had a lot of accidents there because
Just
it's
when
like,
one was by herself and the other one was a hay wagon hit.
oh, there were other accidents there that I've been on prior to those two, yeah. Yeah, it's just a bad sight distance.
It is a bad,
Yeah,
that's why we're moving the parking down to the far end.
yeah.
But we can, I mean, outline it in the thing. Right up if you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
That's-
That it will
that's all
only
I'm getting
be
at, yeah.
for-
Yeah,
Same thing with like, waiving to spend for maximum capacity.
Yeah, and I think we had discussed that with the codes.
Okay.
They need to stay. It's such a big building. Haven't put a number on it, but they need to stay under 300. Otherwise, they need a sprinkler system.
Okay, I mean, I just would like to see something in the right of,
We were,
Yeah.
we haven't heard.
Yeah, we're,
300 should be,
and the same thing with the house.
yeah, oh, yeah,
The maximum capacity of the house.
yeah,
Yeah, like,
we can put that into. Yeah, we had 250, I think, in the one wedding,
yeah,
200, and it was very comfortable.
yeah.
So it's nice to have extra space.
I don't know that many people.
At least that's. We could be with it one time.
Well, if my funeral was there, there's 1,000 people to make sure I was actually dead.
Yeah.
In
the celebration.
All right, so that's, Jamie, you have anything else?
No, like I said, and John and I are talking about going through kind of a bullet list and figuring this out. I mean, it's unique. It's the first time that I have, since I've been on this board, seen something that involves this agritourism, and we want to get it right, and it's going to be a roadmap for anybody else. So
With that said, we started out with a few changes on the map, but now the changes are fairly substantial. Exits, entrance, ingress, egress.
I still think we can call it a public hearing as long as we get.
No, I mean,
Oh,
we were telling them they could scratch out gravel.
Hmm.
Do we need new maps? I'm asking.
Why don't you let us put the list together?
Okay, then we'll determine
Yeah,
that.
so they can do everything at one time.
Okay. So. With nothing else. Any marching orders?
Okay, we'll just wait
We get more
here.
of them next
Yeah,
week.
we'll try to get it as soon as we can.
It's okay.
We have time to.
Maybe take those maps back in case we're gonna change them.
Yes. Unless somebody wants to move in here,
I want
There you go.
to keep a couple of them. We need to-
move in here for advertising purposes.
You want them to?
Yeah, I'll take them back. We have to, maybe they can take it on with that. And what we're gonna do.
The nice black thing and be.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. The next one.
yes.
You're making progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It's too. All right, Sue, you're back on.
The other business.
Mr. Deputy, before you leave, yes, sir, before you leave, very good presentation you put on during the public hearing. Thanks. Really appreciate that. Appreciate that. Have a good night, guys.
You guys do.
Drive safe. You adjourn?
Yeah. I will say.
I'll make. Okay.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Need me?
Motion carries.
You have.
Yeah.
I moved. See what people put on first. Okay, sorry, thank you.